Yep. Sharpen your sword. What the heck does that mean? You say, what does that mean? Well, what it really means is get ready to battle for you. Look, everything that took place the last 2 or 3 years and the panic that ensued everywhere was all about people not being prepared, right? A large number of people wandering around saying, well, what do I do now? How do I do it? Am I going to catch something? What's happening? Lack of critical thinking, lack of authentic curiosity, people thinking that a mask is going to save them. A bottom line is you can save you. You can put yourself in a much better position by preparing. And number one, get not fat. Okay, number one, right now. But it's easy to stay fat. It's easy to do a lot of things that aren't good. Sharpen your sword, right? Decide financially. You're going to be in a position that it doesn't matter. But a whole host of other things can take place. I mean, let's face it. You know it and I know it. There can be all sorts of different catastrophes that can take place. And are you prepared? Or are you sitting back and just deciding that somebody else is going to do it for me? Some other magical medicine will take care of it, right? You are an amazing machine, biological machine that you can work on each and every day, but it takes a commitment to this, to sharpen your sword, okay? Sharpen your blade, you can put it. Just put the skills together. Decide that the disciplines are something that you're going to embrace, okay? The disciplines of health, the disciplines of freedom, the disciplines are so important it isn't funny. They just are. And if you abandon that route of discipline, if you abandon the route of preparedness, if you abandon the route of self-autonomy, if you abandon that, then guess what? Some other third-party entity is going to look awfully not familiar to you, but I guess we would call it enticing to you. And the solutions will be mediocre to disastrous. Okay, that's it. You just saw it. You just went through this for 2-3 years. The nonsense that swirled around everywhere, the gaslighting, right? The misdirection, all the things that happened because you were not prepared, so it bothered you. Even to this day, I see people wandering around in masks and the thing that way. I'm not sure what they think that it's doing, but something's in their mind saying it must be doing something right, only because they haven't sharpened their sword, they haven't got it in their head yet, they haven't looked at the real data, they haven't put the pieces together yet. They're just getting this extraneous information, bullshit information that's coming from wherever it's coming from, that tells them that, yeah, that's it. It's just the same thing as people go and they buy stuff off the supermarket shelves, something like smart food, right? Smart one, smart thing, smart water. I don't know what it's all about, but I sure see them come roaring off the shelves in my little grocery store, particularly if there's a sale, and it's like 20% off, right? For something they can throw in the microwave, right? And all they're doing, you know what they're doing at that point, particularly if they're doing it over and over and over again? They're just dulling their sword. They're blunting their instrument, which is them, which is themselves. That doesn't have to be you, but only you can decide. I mean, literally, only you can decide if this is something that's important to you, if autonomy is important to you, if the thing of being a director of your own destiny is important to you, if you can prepare, if you can take the little steps each and every day to sharpen your sword, right? Rather than to dull it, to blunt it. What do you blunt it with? I don't know. A lot of people might go out and think a 6-pack of fermented hops is something that's their escape over and over and over again. That's a blunting instrument. Okay. If the whole thing of tons of calories on a daily basis with little movement, that's a blunting exercise. Sharpening your sword, sharpening your skills, sharpening your thinking, sharpening your state of well-being, sharpening your state of financial well-being. Put yourself in a place in which between now and whenever, a year from now, 2 years from now, 5 years from now, whatever that next sort of deal coming down on the masses, that you've at least done your job, your part to take care of you. Not some sort of miraculous check that arrives and money from heaven comes swirling down amongst the crowds, right? That did absolutely nothing than to put the social fabric in a state of, well, look at this inflation. Well, no kidding. If you decrease production, elevate the ability for people to consume, you create an inflationary spiral, right? It just spirals up and up and up, higher and higher and higher. And how does it come back out? I don't know. They're trying to figure it out right now, and they're going to figure it out with a lot of pain and suffering, because that's how any inflation measures work. We got to get an unemployment rate up, not down. We got to get more people unemployed so they can't purchase as much to take the pressure off of the supply chain of goods and services. So perhaps those prices will come down or moderate. That's how it works. So we have to create pain, right, in order to do that, only because we created an environment that caused it in the first place. You see, the virus didn't cause all of this, right? It was government entities that stepped in to do these things because the vast majority of the population had not sharpened their sword. So if you know the vast majority of the population still is not going to sharpen their sword, that doesn't mean you can't. That doesn't mean you can't be prepared. That doesn't mean you can't be in a situation to take advantage of it, because you absolutely can, and not walk around in a state of fear and trepidation because you haven't prepared in the first place, particularly physically, but also on top of that, financially. You see, freedom in the end of the day is all about your autonomy, your ability to navigate this world in a way in which you want to, with yourself and your family and everything else along that line. Friends of mine have left this country and gone elsewhere. And they've gone elsewhere because they said, I don't want to be in that fabric, and I have the ability to go elsewhere. Yeah, that's the whole thing. One of the things that keeps us anchored here is certainly our relationship with our grandchildren. You see, and because that relationship with the grandchildren, and really I don't have the financial resources to pick them up and their old stuff and take them some other part of the world. But the bottom line is if we chose to, we could, and we would. So it's an interesting time. Sharpen the sword. I work on it daily. I don't know if you can see that. It's a daily habit. It's a daily habit. See what's happening. See what's going on. Yeah, I know this is long-winded for you, but you know what? You got to hear it from somebody. And you have to decide you're going to do it somewhere. And if you want to decide how to do it and have the mechanism to do it, because your job's not going to get you there. Yeah, you can work on yourself physically. Absolutely. I don't care where you come from in that standpoint. Okay. If you're from a minimum wage earner all the way up to CEO of a company and anything else in between, you're a small business owner, whatever. Yeah, you can work on things. And I specialize in that with people from all walks of life. But I also work with folks in order to create a cash flow that wherever they are in the world, they can deal with the ramifications of impending, I call it financial, holocaust. Yeah, that's the deal. Own your life. Own your dash. Own it. Sharpen your sword. Decide you're going to own it, because only you can decide you're going to own it. I'm not here to tell you you should. What I'm telling you is if you want to, if you choose to, you can. And there's no excuse. If you're listening to this, there's no excuse, because you know you can, because I can show you how you can. But you have to decide that you're willing to sharpen your sword. That's the deal. That's the honest to God deal. So anyways, that's it. I mean, that's really it. I'll probably talk about this for a long, long time, because I see a lot of people regressing back into their old habits. That's it. And those old habits is the things that got them there in the first place, with fear and trepidation and just looking out into the future and going, I don't know what's happening. I don't know how I'm going to deal with it. Please help me. So, anyway, that's it for today. Okay. This is my little Richard rant, because you got to decide to sharpen your sword. Work on it. Okay, everybody. Take care. Right? You got some living to do.